Day two, give it a shot. I figured probably should talk a little bit about myself before I start getting into opinions and things that I think about and what I see. Just saw the tail of Huckleberry Hound. That's my dog. You'll hear the nails crackling around throughout and toys being played with. There's a whole different world happening below this desk, and it is all his world. Anyway, figured I would start with just a little bit about my education. I wasn't a great student. Like my first memories of class were or in school were struggle. I didn't learn. I don't remember learning a ton in early elementary school. It was like, here's the math book, do the math problems, and all I remember was trying to get all that stuff done as fast as possible so that I could get to a computer game or work on the. I think we had a class newsletter that I was a part of, so writing in the newsletter. But it was never about finishing assignments and what am I learning in school and what am I learning in all of these assignments and how is it building all together. There was just go to class, go to school, just like most kids. It was social. It was being with friends, and I remember the eraser days where we would erase all, like keep the shavings of all these erasers and created different colors within whatever you kept them in. We also grew up in the troll day where we had those little trolls that sat on the top of a pencil with different wild hair and stuff like that. So there's the early elementary school stuff. I remember cheating very early. I was not good at math. I did not remember. It just never came easy to me. My brain was not naturally wired for mathematics of any type. So I was the kid that I think it was a multiplication test where it was you needed to get a certain amount of right answers within a certain amount of time. And if you didn't get the certain amount of answers, then you needed to take that test again. And I realized really quick, I'm never going to pass this. And this was fifth grade. Like I remember today because the girl that sat next to me caught me using my calculator and she ultimately shunned me for cheating. And I just shrugged and went, whatever, and ignored her. And luckily she didn't tell on me. But yeah, I used a calculator when we weren't supposed to use calculators. We had Latin root tests that I did okay in. But there was always I want to do better in school. There's an expectation that I do well in school. So I looked at it and went, well, if I just peek at her page or his page, then I'll get a couple of those answers that I didn't know. So cheating became relatively normal for me in some level. It was just I didn't know any better, and if it was get good grades, then that was the way for me to get better grades, and I just didn't really think about it. Class projects, I had the best ones. It wasn't because of myself, it was because of my loving mother who didn't want me to fail and loved me unconditionally. And we didn't know at the time, but that'll be another conversation around my health history. But I had a lot of early concussions, and those early concussions, they created some energy supply issues. If you didn't know or if you haven't heard, concussion is a energy system injury, meaning blood flow changes in the brain and it doesn't have to go back. And blood flow is a big part of making our brain do the things that we want to do in our lives. Did you know that you are your brain? Everything you are, everything you ever will be is brain derived. That's pretty cool. But my mother loved me to death. I had energy system problems. I had attention problems. I couldn't really put a lot of focus into things if they weren't athletics. So class project would come around. The first one that comes to mind is doing the Oregon Trail stuff, and everyone had to make their own wagon. I showed up to class with the coolest wagon that my mom pretty much made the most of. I remember looking at the other projects and like, they just weren't good. But they were built by sixth graders, where mine was, I started it as the sixth grader. I essentially tanked. I couldn't pay attention to the task anymore. I couldn't focus on it. Like I'm almost taking a nap ultimately. And my mom was just so nice and just continuing to help me. Hey, glue that there, put this down here. Oh, look, the canopy happened while you kind of like just checked out for a little bit. So she was great and she loved me and she helped tremendously. But I look back and go, I didn't make my own projects. Like I always had the best ones. I got good grades on them, but I didn't make them. My mom helped tremendously. So that's early schooling. Like and then like it kind of started to kind of fall like I didn't have a lot of interests outside of like graphic design. I loved filmmaking. I loved art. I was an artist. I drew, I painted, I played multiple instruments, but that doesn't make a living. Is kind of how I remember taking all of that. And you need to find things that will make you a living. And so those became kind of like I like these, but I can't really put that much focus on them. So it was a kind of a get through school, I would say. Get through school. I had good grades for the most part, but it didn't come without cheating. Math ended up being like I needed a tutor for all of high school to complete math, and some of the most challenging days and moments of my life were in that tutoring session, just not getting it, crying, frustrated beyond all heck, just couldn't get it. And then I just had a saint of a math tutor. She was so patient. She would show me things different ways. She would try and create graphic representations. And at some point, most of the time, there would be this like floodgate immediately open. Oh my God, I get it. And there's this massive rush of relief and like, I can't believe I actually got this. So there's early education. The one aspect that I find really interesting with how much I didn't do well in school, it's not that I didn't do well. It's that I just wasn't a great student. But like I went to school, I was a good kid. I was nice to like I had good relationships with my teachers, and so it wasn't that big of a deal. But one thing I do remember, fourth grade, was an anatomy test, and it was on the bones of the human body. And I remember it was really late at night. There was 2 days before the exam, and I hadn't studied a lick. I didn't have study habits. I didn't really understand studying. That goes through even college. Like I just kind of anything that would lead you to being a good student, I kind of just missed. And I don't think it's that I wasn't taught. I missed it. I point the finger at myself, not the teachers, not the parents, anything of the sort. But it's like 2 days before I'm going, oh my God, I have to memorize the bones of the human body, and I don't know them. So I created this sequence of studying, and go figure, it's a memorization technique of just once you've got one, add another. Repeat those two, add another. Repeat those three, add another. And I went in and aced the anatomy test. I got the highest grade of that test, and it was on the skeleton. I think that's a big difference. So here's a human skeleton standing in front of me, and I had to rattle off bones to get my grade. And I did great. And that was kind of the last time that I thought about the human body in any capacity until college. I had injuries. I wondered what those injuries were as a goalkeeper in soccer. I played baseball when I was young, basketball when I was young. Obviously loved anything to do with PE and recess. I would consider myself an athlete, and not a very smart one when it came to being a student athlete. So that was kind of my experience with the body was, hey, here's a skeleton memorization or a recall of human bones. And I dealt with back pain and a groin problem and a quad problem and just kind of dealt with stuff throughout and always wondered what the heck is going on. Why can't I do the things that I want to do? So then you get to college. I went to school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I looked at it and went, Dad's a businessman. I will be a businessman. So I went to Linfield College and studied business. It was a great school for business. I was able to play college soccer there. Wasn't my first choice. I actually cried on the initial visit because I hated the idea of going. I thought I was going to be a Division I Southern California goalkeeper, and didn't really have any direction, any help, any education on it. So I just kind of continued to pursue that. And I got into every college I wanted to go to, but the soccer side just wasn't working out. I was hurt during the major recruiting year to play in at college soccer. So for college coaches to actually come see you play live versus at the time send emails back and forth. Like I did make a highlight tape, an actual tape, a VHS tape that I sent to places to give you an idea of the era that I was growing up in. But I got a call from the Linfield coach. Goes, why you're not signed anywhere? You're not playing anywhere? What's going on? Oh, I'm waiting for these opportunities. They keep telling me I should take the chance and walk on. I got into the school. I look great on paper. The stats look good. They didn't see me play, so they're not really interested in taking a chance. So he goes, well, look, the time has passed for those. Like those schools are moving, like they've got their rosters for the year. I've been watching you for a long time. You could play here. And I'm going, yeah, where is it? And he goes, well, it's Linfield. It's in McMinnville. I went, where's McMinnville? He goes, you played some ODP. That's where the region camp was. And I went, oh yeah, the train track school. He goes, yes, the train track school. Because there's a train track that runs through the campus that splits the match field from the practice fields. And I went, oh, that's 45 minutes away from where I live currently. He goes, yeah. I go, I'm not interested at all at going to a school that close to home. Again, I wanted to go Southern California. I think part of that was the memories of vacations in Newport Beach, crashing around in the waves. Very fortunate to have a great grandmother that bought a beach house on Newport Beach, like on the boardwalk, in the 30s. I think she got it for like $30,000. Insane. But that's where a lot of summer vacations were just being on the beach, being in the beach house, visiting great grandma, and just. So I had this idea that Southern California, sunshine, ocean, beach, it's for me. So I love the idea, and to go to Linfield was just like, no, it's not even a thought. But I didn't have options, and soccer was important to me. I wanted to play. So I went on the official visit, cried right after. I knew some guys on the team. Wouldn't have been a bad situation, but it sounded miserable to me. And go figure, I went. So I became an accountant or a business major. I take financial accounting, which is I didn't know at the time, but there are weed out classes, meaning these classes are a little extraordinarily hard to make sure that you're not getting kind of guys or people that are not sure, don't really know what to pursue. So financial accounting was one of the initial classes for a business degree. Don't understand why, but that would lead to an accounting degree eventually. I didn't want to do accounting. I wanted to do something business. And again, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it was, business. I don't know. So I'm in financial accounting. I think it's a pretty simple concept. These two columns should zero out. Put them in this, put them in that. Find the right category and make sure that they are constantly matched up on this side of the column and that side of the column. Didn't sound so bad until I got a D+ on the first exam. I went, what? But I thought I got this a little bit. So I go to the professor. Sit down in his office. He was a really cool guy. And he goes, well, did you get any of it? I went, I got a D+, like barely any of it. He goes, well, it's going to be a really tough term for you. Like a D+ on the first exam, like you put your back against the wall in the first whatever amount of weeks. are you interested in any other classes? And I went, well, I'm really interested in this prevention and care of athletic injuries class. And and he goes, you should pursue that. What does that lead to? And I went, I don't know, but I like it because it makes it puts me to life. Like I'm understanding more about myself and about the injuries that I've had. Like I had a bad ankle sprain in high school. This kind of helped start the process of understanding what happened, a back problem, a hip problem. Like I dealt with some injuries growing up in my sports, and I didn't really have solutions for them. I remember very small interjections from physical therapy, some massages, and just kind of the wait until one day I can play again. So adding some sort of knowledge to myself outside of, hey, here's a skeleton, memorize some bones, to some ligaments of the body, special tests to work with or to understand and figure out what an injury is. And I went, oh, this is really cool. That led to applying and getting into the athletic training program, where boom, everything is now about the human body, and get to work. So it's just started the process of getting through this education. There wasn't a light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't have critical thought going on this is what I want to be. These are steps that I need to take to be there. I kind of just described life until a pivot point, a turning point that I'll describe later, as just kind of reacting to things as they hit me in the face. So it's like riding a bike, not knowing where you're going, just continuing to cruise on, and whack, a newspaper slaps you in the face. You just pull it off, throw it out, continue on, don't know where you're going, don't know what the goal is of riding this bike. I'm just riding this bike, whack, another newspaper, you get it, throw it off, and you just keep going. So that's how I kind of describe life. There wasn't a lot of critical thought. There wasn't a lot of abstract thought. I wasn't asking myself questions. Who am I? Who do I want to be? And this is a part of talking, is I wonder what other people experience. Like, were you in fourth grade thinking, hey, this is what I want to be, and this is going to be an important thing for me to do to get to that? I don't know. Maybe there are some people out there. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to getting some feedback on. How did other people live? Or how did other people grow up? Because I grew up myself, and I know myself. I didn't have siblings, so I didn't get to see any other contrasts. And early ages, I lived in the middle of nowhere on 50 acres of forest. So the nearest kid neighbor was probably over a mile walk away, and I saw him, but not often. I spent a ton of time on my own. And by myself, and with my parents, and with the animals and the dogs and the cats and all that. And my social aspect was going to school and playing sports. So I didn't know what I wanted to do with this. I just found the human body interesting. So I'm going through this. Again, this is all hindsight 2020. I didn't know at the time that my concussion history is starting to add up and starting to build up, and it's not getting any better with lifestyle choices and just who I am in college. I was in a fraternity. I ended up being the president of that fraternity. You can have an idea of some of the activities that we enjoyed as fraternity members. They did not help. So I had sleep issues, dietary issues, lifestyle issues, and a good laundry list of concussion history at that point. It's getting dark. And again, I didn't know at the time. This is all me seeing things through a different perspective, a neurological lens now. So I'm going through. School's getting really hard. I don't want to go to class. I'm not good at studying. I'm not good at recalling information. I'm surviving with the practical application of the athletic training degree of, taping ankles, taping body parts, special tests for figuring out what injuries are, creating plans for rehabilitation, getting into human physiology lab where you're doing VO2 maxes and lactate thresholds and urine stuff. And it was cool. Like, I liked the hands-on physical component of working with people. So I'm in athletic training, I get put on academic probation. I'm just not doing well enough, and rightfully so. I wasn't. So the idea there was academic probation creates a layer of help and oversight around you. And I don't know how I fell through the cracks. I'm sure it was on me, but I didn't, nothing changed really. I just continued to struggle to the point where I felt like my back was against the wall. I wasn't really that interested in athletic training. I loved being around the athletes. I loved that it was an athletic world, but at the same time, it was a windowless room that we spent so much time in doing all of the therapy and the rehab and working with the athletes from Linfield. And to not see the light of day for 6-hour shifts or whatever they were in the treatment center, it's like, it didn't feel good. Like we were in a basement, no natural light, small room compared to what we really needed, and that's if any athletic trainers watch this, it's like this probably strikes home for a lot of you, because they're often you're kind of stuck in this like oversized. It feels like an oversized closet. So I was already just not excited about it, and then the academic probation and not really doing much better when it comes to representing the grades that I needed to continue. I saw the writing on the wall, I jumped ship, and I went into exercise science. Exercise science shared a similar academic pathway, so there were a couple classes that I needed to pick up that were different, and that kind of led me to taking a the fall fifth term, where I was able to play soccer one more year. I had a medical red shirt, go figure, my sophomore year of college, torn labrum in the shoulder. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't extend, I couldn't run, I couldn't write, I couldn't sleep on that side, I couldn't sleep, period. We'll get into all that kind of stuff at some point. But again, we're in academics right now, so I got to keep myself in the thought process of my academic progress to this point. So I'm in an exercise science degree. Fast forward, I have an exercise science degree, and I have no idea what I want to do with it. Like, I remember picking up Peace Corps pamphlets, and my girlfriend at the time, her dad had a job for me in the like medical braces stuff, PT equipment sales world. I didn't think one way or another about it. Again, critical thought wasn't really a part of my life at that point. There was no, where am I? What do I want to do? What do I want to be? What steps do I need to take to get there? So again, another newspaper slaps me in the face, and it's my dad saying, hey, the gym I work out at is hiring personal trainers. You should apply. I was like, all right, let me take that newspaper and not quite throw it yet, but kind of hold on to it. And now I'm a personal trainer. I am standing in front of somebody that is looking to lose weight, and I realized I don't know how to necessarily help you do that. So my default was go back to everything that I did as an athlete. I went to the gym as a kid. I went to the gym as a college kid. We had gym requirements. Go figure, it was just a teammate that ran us through different CrossFit workouts of the day. There was no influence from strength and conditioning coaches, performance coaches, even our head coach providing something. It was literally this kid saying, oh, I like this stuff. We'll all do that. I learned quickly that I did not like that. So every morning at whatever 6 a.m. for lift, I would hop on a stationary bike and just wait to go back to bed. I did not sleep well. I did not wake up well. I did not have great mornings. I had a lot of stuff going on when it came to head injuries and ultimately brain damage. And again, I'll go through the aha of that part of my career and pathway. So I'm in the real world. I have an exercise science degree. I am figuring out personal training. No rhyme or reason to it. I looked at it and went, I want my clients to have fun, so we're not going to just do the same thing over and over every day of the week, and I'm just kind of winging it. And then a strength and conditioning coach showed up at the gym, and he didn't look happy. And he's walking around, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know there were 4 other gyms in this chain. I just got a job at this one. Come to find out, there was a little strength and conditioning department in one of those gyms. So they focused on working with athletes from around the area. And we had an all trainer meeting, and that guy was there. His name was Chris. And Chris sat down, we sat down, and he pretty much said, guessing at what you should do for your clients is unacceptable. And I sat back and went, oh, go on, because that's all I'm doing. And that's what I'm seeing most everyone do here. He goes, you don't know what they can do, so you need to start screening them to determine where you should start with them. And I went, all right, I'm interested. Next meeting is a meeting with the strength and conditioning staff at the strength and conditioning facility at that gym, and said, all right, this is Aaron. Aaron's he was the partner of that strength and conditioning facility with Chris, and he said, we're gonna learn the FMS, functional movement screen, with Aaron. And I went, cool, what is that about? And he goes, it's 7 basic movements that give you a category of where they are. If they score a certain number or lower, you got to go this route with them. If they score higher, you can go that route with them. If they don't score well on a certain test, these are things that you can do to help them score better. And I went, ooh, cool. I like this. So Aaron is working with an athlete. I'm about 5 feet away from him taking notes. Nope, I didn't have a lot of critical thought at the time. Questions. I was always amazed by people that could ask questions. I never really got questions that formulated in my head. So I was like, wow, how did that person think of that? That's wild. And that went for a long time into my late 20s of really not having a lot of critical thought going on, just kind of reacting to life as it hit. So I'm right there. I'm studying. I'm fascinated. This is so cool. The rest of the personal trainers are standing back there, not taking notes, just going, ultimately looking like they were just ready to be done with this, ready to move on to something else. But at the end of that session, I went to Aaron and went, Aaron, I need to be here. And that started a year-long unpaid internship. So I'm at one gym, personal training. After my shifts are done there, I jet over and close out the strength and conditioning guys. That started a lifestyle of wondering what else. And that was installed by Chris and Aaron. I can't thank them enough. They are so pivotal in where I am today and just creating a curious person. Hey, Joe, there is too much out there for any of us to learn, so we just need to pursue knowledge, pursue different ways of thinking. If there's something that interests you and there's a workshop or something of the sort, go and bring stuff back. And the whole idea was, here's how we work with athletes. Here's a big template full of a lot of stuff. If I go and learn something somewhere and it's better than what we have right there, even if it's 0.2% better, let's put it in there and replace what we had initially. And that is a framework that is still working with me today. It's not so much replace, it's more fitting things together and trying to understand the big picture of how we operate from a nervous system perspective, which includes everything in your head with everything in your body. My classic education in exercise science was the neck down. We didn't learn any practical application of the neck up. And now, knowing neuroscience is a young, evolving, very fast branch of science that we just didn't know much about. So there was no practical application. Even in college, I remember, like, hey, kinesiology, you want us to understand the joint, how the joints move, how the muscles move, the synergy between the muscles. And then there's this thing called innervation. Like, why do we care about that? And the honest answer was, we don't. Memorize it and focus on the movements and the muscles that move you and the joints. And I went, okay. And in my head, as a not very good student that is degrading over time because of concussion history and lifestyle choices, So I ignore that. I'm here to get C's and get out of college. So you're saying this is the important stuff? Memorize this and forget it? I'm just not, I don't know, I can't memorize well. So I'm not even going to try and memorize the neurology side of things or the innervations of the nerve that makes the muscle work. I'm just going to remove it. So I didn't have like an application from the neck up. So having that kind of foundational set of hey, keep learning, keep trying to evolve, keep trying to improve the things that you're doing for people was massive. So that started I remember learning something new every day. I loved that. Every time I went to the strength and conditioning facility, I learned something new. I would use it there. I would bring it back and work with my clients at the other gym in the personal training setting with it. I'm starting to see some big results for people. It's changing how they move. It's changing their strength. I remember there was a fat loss challenge. All clubs, all personal trainers are involved. The number one person with the most fat percentages lost for their clients gets a bonus. I won that. And it was because of the education I was getting with Chris and Aaron. They talked about nutrition, that it's important. You can't just outwork bad food. And calories are important, and even the quality of the food that you eat is important, along with assessing, screening, focusing on functional movement, progressing people in through strength exercises, power development, etc. You name it, we did it, including high-speed treadmill work. It was a lot of fun. Put people in harnesses and just watch them try and go. So that led to a foundation of, hey, be curious, and go figure. Here's the name of the show. So I'm curious. I'm learning a lot, and it gets to the point where Chris starts to step away, and I have to start stepping into the business role of the strength and conditioning facility. So I'm debt collecting and creating packages and following up with people and scheduling new clients, and I'm still working as a strength and conditioning coach, but now it's starting to split. I take a trip to San Diego for a vacation. My parents were snowbirding at the time and spending some of their time in San Diego. So Christmas break, I decide I'm going to go down and visit my parents and spend a vacation in San Diego, a place that it's been on my mind. Like, I don't know what it was about it. It was just, Joe, if you lived somewhere else, yeah, San Diego, Southern California would be great. Again, no critical thought. I didn't know why, but it was there. So I go to a gym. I find out that a high school acquaintance worked at that gym. I was like, hey, man, can you get me on the guest list? It was a poshy, very fancy, fitness club. And can I get on I just want to work out. I'm in town for a week. And he goes, yeah, no problem. So I go work out at this really fancy gym. It's downtown San Diego. It overlooks Petco Park. It was real cool, real nice. All the state-of-the-art equipment. Not enough kettlebells, in my opinion. Not enough like functional plyo boxes. Like, they all bent and made you land weird and stuff like that. But again, it was all right. This is cool. So I'm lifting. I stop by to say hi to that acquaintance after I lift. He goes, oh, what are you up to? I go, oh, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Right now, I'm working with a lot of football players at the local university. I'm trying to pick up golfers and create a golf part of this business, because part of that continuing education was Titleist Performance Institute. Not because of golf, because they have a phenomenal junior education track. So how do you take a kid and put them into the right environments with the right tools to help them develop more completely and better? And so I thought, hey, bringing youth training to this strength and conditioning facility will add value to us, add value to what I can provide. So I entered Titleist Performance Institute with that in mind, but level one is all the golf swing. So I remember sitting in Vancouver, BC, going, this is nothing of what I'm supposed to be bringing back to the gym. Uh-oh. And at the time, my college career was over. I was still an athlete without a sport. And I went, golf's hard. What better place to start learning how to golf than Titleist Performance Institute? So I jumped in, and so in San Diego, I was talking to him, working with golfers, working with kids, working with football players, any athletes of any time. He goes, "Do you want a job here?" And I kind of went, "What? Like, I'm just here on vacation. Like, it hasn't really crossed my mind." He goes, "Well, you have a job here if you want it. We don't have a strength and conditioning coach that is working with FMS and kettlebells and TRX bands and teaching people how to deadlift and squat and all that kind of stuff that you find in strength and conditioning." The biggest thing I would separate from strength and conditioning and personal training is like the lowest form of athleticism in a gym, where strength and conditioning would be the highest level of athleticism in a gym. So it just requires and demands more complex things from you than, sitting on the quad lift machine or something like that, or quad extension machine. So I'm with him. He goes, "Yeah, you got a job." And I went, "Oh, that's cute. Like, thanks, maybe, whatever." So I finish out my vacation in San Diego. I golfed a bit. I really enjoyed it. I went to the beach, and I remember flying back to Portland. It was late. I took the latest flight out that I could get out of San Diego to maximize the day, and it is just torrential downpour. Just disgusting Portland weather. And I remember just being so angry that I had to be there at that moment in the pissing rain. Just like, this sucks. I do not want to be here. And it just worked out that there was enough turmoil and some challenges going on at work that I went, "That's it. I'm taking that job in San Diego." Again, I did not know how to think. I did not know how to critically think. I wasn't asking myself questions at the time. I just was blind and naive enough to go, "I'm going." And with parents that were willing to help and support me as I started new adventures and new journeys to get on my feet. So I call that acquaintance, say, "Hey, I'm in." He connects me with the manager of trainers and now the one strength and conditioning coach. And he said, "Yeah, man, like, we have golfers. We want golf training. You would provide a special aspect to our gym. You're going to be making 8K like in the first couple months. Like, we've got people ready to work with you." I went, "Sick. Move." Yeah, that was just lip service. In that world, it's like used car dealership. It's like, "Yeah, we'll take you as a salesman. You'll sell to your friend, you'll sell to your parent, you'll sell to them, then you'll start getting unsuccessful. You made us some money, we made you very little money, and you're out doing something else." Personal training is very similar, that you're going to make that gym money for sure. Cross your fingers that you do well enough to make yourself money. So I get to this gym, I'm in San Diego, I move downtown, I can walk to work, and now I'm starting at zero. So I just get to work. I put my head down. I'm competitive. I would clock out and continue to work because they wouldn't let you work overtime because they didn't want to pay you. So I would clock out, continue hunting for clients, and I'm climbing the ladder. They have a leaderboard of sales. It's not about health. It's about making sure that you make money for the club and that people pay. So the sales were the important part. So I'm seeing myself move up the sales ladder. I'm making more money for the gym. I'm luckily starting to make a little bit more money for myself. And there's 18 trainers on staff. What a competition level. So I see this guy, and he's using a tuning fork on someone's ankle. And I go, "Nah, that's dumb. Go back to work." I see that guy later. I go, "Hey, dude, like, again, thank you to my early career for creating a curiosity about what I didn't know." Because everyone else in that gym went, "That dude's weird." And I went, "Yeah, that dude is weird. But what is that?" So I walk up to him and go, "Hey, tuning fork on an ankle. Talk to me here." He goes, "It's brain training." I went, "I'm not dumb enough to know, like, everyone's training brains. even someone that doesn't know anything about brains is like, if you're getting change, it's because you're changing the brain. I don't know how I stumbled upon it. It was just an intuitive feeling that, yeah, so is everyone here, including the guy giving B12 shots in someone's butt cheek. Like, everyone's changing brains. It's just a matter of how, and how do you know? Well, the results, I guess. That was the only thing I could think of. So he goes, yeah, it's brain training. And I went, oh, okay, go on. He goes, I don't know what to tell you. It's brain training. Then I realized, oh, we're competition. Like, he's got his niche. He doesn't want to share his niche with me. And I went, well, where did you learn it? He goes, it's called Z Health Performance Solutions. And I went, got it. Thank you. I go to their website. It's not a good website. I was like, well, I am no better off by going to your website to understand what the heck this stuff is. So I just kind of forgot about it. And then he came to me and said, hey, Z Health is running a new essentials course. And I went, what's that? He goes, it's an overview of 3 of their 13 courses. And I went, they have 13 courses? He goes, yeah, 13 courses, 8 hours a day, 4 hours or 4 days at a time. And I went, oh, where is it? He goes, it's Phoenix, Arizona. And I went, okay, let me plug that in. And I went, well, that's like a 6.5, 7 hour drive. I'm curious, like, why would you think that a tuning fork on an ankle is going to do anything? And of course I watched him after that, and he's doing other weird stuff that I just didn't know about. So I went, all right, I'm in. I drive out to Arizona with 2 other trainers. We split a hotel room. We're in this course. Hour 1, day 1. I'm going, what did I sign up for? So Dr. Cobb, a doctor of chiropractic, that is one of those people that you meet and go, oh, you're different in a lot of really cool ways. Like, he just puts together information differently. He articulates information so intelligently and simply that it's like, you just meet those kinds of people in life and go, oh, you're different than the rest of us in such a great way. So he's on stage. He's introducing Z Health Performance Solutions and this new essentials class, and that they're going to be filming it for future use and all this kind of stuff. And he opens with, does anyone have a performance limitation? Or a range of, yeah, I think it was a performance limitation. This guy at the back of the place raises his hand and goes, great, come on up. And the guy walks up. He's like 6'6", 6'7", basketball, ex-basketball, retired basketball player. And Doc goes, what's your limitation? And the guy goes, I've never been able to touch my toes. And quickly, I'm starting as a strength and conditioning coach going, okay, we would do the active straight leg raise with FMS. We would look at the inline lunge. We would look at the hurdle step. We would probably need to do some heel slides up the wall. We got to smash that posterior chain with lacrosse balls and foam rollers and massage sticks and all that kind of stuff. And my thought, go figure, I had a thought process, but that thought process was interrupted, and Dr. Cobb goes, okay, show us. So I'm watching, and he's like, yeah, he's barely getting past his kneecaps with a straight leg forward bend. And he goes, yeah, that's tight. And he's like, hey, that's a pretty awesome scar you've got on your forearm. And it was huge. Like, it was all the way down. And he goes, how did that happen? And the guy goes, oh, I was dunking. The backboard broke. It's not that cool. It was old. But I broke the backboard, and the backboard sliced me open. I got like 64 stitches or something like that. And Dr. Cobb looks at the audience and goes, scars can matter neurologically. They don't have to be, often they are not fully rehabbed to your brain. And I'm going, okay. So I'm watching Doc. I could care less about this 6'5" giant. Like, yeah, I've seen worse toe touches. And often I see them with basketball players. Some of the most immobile people that I know, basketball players. But I'm watching Dr. Cobb, and he's just playing with this scar, moving up and down it. I'm going, what is this guy doing? He's just having a conversation with the athlete at the same, or the guy at the same time, and you see him stop, and he starts just kind of searching and moving, and I'm going, what is going on? And he just holds a certain direction, and I'm going, okay. And Doc goes, okay, it's a shot in the dark, but if your brain saw a under-mapped scar as a threat, and we just did something to improve the clarity of that area of your body, the threat would probably go down and your performance should go up. So, test your toe touch. The guy put his knuckles on the floor. I'll say it again. Started with barely getting the kneecaps. A minute later of Doc talking to this guy and playing with a forearm scar, the guy puts his knuckles on the ground. And I go, oh, I am such a fool. Such a fool. I drank the Kool-Aid. I spent money on this. And like that guy's hired. Like, okay, cool. Fun party trick, everybody. What's the catch here? And we go to break. And I walk right up to Dr. Cobb and I go, why? And he goes, why what? I go, why does you playing with his forearm scar change that into a toe touch that is unbelievably different? And he just smiled. He goes, I appreciate you're a why guy. And I go, it's not good enough. It's like, I need to know why that works, because in my head I'm going, that would be like 6 to 8 weeks if we ever got it to that kind of quality. And this happened in a minute. So he goes, well, there's a why course. And I went, smart man, what a business model. Of course, you're going to string me along to get me to pay more money. And I'm going, how quickly can I take that? What does it look like? What is the curriculum? And the curriculum, he goes, well, the core curriculum is called R, I, S, and T. There are 4 courses. They go over different things. I'm going, okay. And he goes, the structure course is the Y course. It's the neurology around it. It is all the spinal, the tracks from our brain to our body to our brain. They run in feedback and feed forward loops. That's where you'll start to understand why something like playing with a scar can improve a range of motion like that. And I go, I need to take that. Like, I don't know that I can do 4 courses at this cost without understanding an inkling of why. And he goes, I get that. Let's get through the weekend and we'll chat. I go, if you can show me an improvement in my squat, the way that you showed me improvement in his toe touch, I'm taking everything that you have. And he just smiled. He goes, great, let's see what happens. So we start into this course, and it's a overview of vision training, so vision skill work, development, inner ear vestibular training. Those were the big takeaways that I remember, and it goes into some complex nonlinear motor control exercise, which was an evolution in itself of what I knew about movement. And again, everything in this course in Z Health was brain-centered. So what do we need to do for this brain and this nervous system to provide the change that that person is ultimately looking for? I remember my first vision drill, gaze stabilization. I'm standing there. Part of the courses are learn, then go apply what you're learning as an athlete and as a coach. So you are just getting run through the mill 8 hours a day of learn about the brain and the nervous system, learn how to assess it, learn how to train it, learn how to coach it better, and just on repeat. So we learned about gaze stabilization, the ability for you to hold a gaze in a certain direction. Seems no-brainer. All of this stuff was subconscious to my knowledge in this point. I never thought about my brain before. I only thought about my body. Why does this hurt? Why can't I hit a goal kick the way I want to? I'm glad I caught that. Whatever it is, there was no thought on my brain or a reflection of how my brain is doing. So to learn gaze stabilization and go, an eye drill? That seems dumb. And didn't know until one of the workers came up and kind of pulled me away from being the athlete. And I'm the athlete. I'm being coached, and the coach holds a vision stick down here, and I have to look at it. And before I know it, someone comes over and goes, "Joe, you're done with that exercise. Come on over. You were a goalkeeper, right? Here, catch a tennis ball." And I'm just catching it. Oh yeah, I was a goalkeeper. And then I felt like myself come back to normal. I know that sounds so odd, but I didn't realize that vision drill for 5 seconds tanked me. It gave me cold sweats. I was physically cold. My fingers, my hands, I was like pale white. And then I realized like I was really, really anxious, like almost sick to my stomach anxious. And I went, and this is again after she pulled me away and threw. I didn't know this while I'm looking at that target. And I looked at her and I went, "What was that?" Like, I feel fine now, but as you're throwing the tennis ball at me, I realized I was going through all of this. And she goes, "That means you need it, but that was too much." And I was like, I looked at a pencil for 5 seconds. What? I need it, but 5 seconds of looking at it was too much. And I was like, okay, move on. Again, this is an initial experience. Like, I'm not putting a lot into anything. I'm just looking for more stuff to help my clients. Like, honestly, that's why I was at Z Health, was from that initial education in strength and conditioning to say, hey, if it's better, replace it. So I'm on the hunt for what's better out there. So I'm not there for myself. I'm there for my clients. I want to learn more tools to help them get where they want to go. So I just move on. And there's a test and retest component to Z Health Performance that is very powerful. And it works under the concept of if you do something for your brain that your brain likes, everything will improve. Global improvement of your nervous system like that. Doesn't mean it will stick, but you now have direction versus I'll keep doing this. I wonder when it will get better. It becomes that was better. Now let me keep doing these things to support that better, which is a paradigm shift from today's world. So really, the brain talks to the body at 300 miles an hour. So if you find something that your brain needs, it immediately changes how your body functions. Again, might not be forever. But wouldn't you rather start with one rep that gives you the exact result you want and then put in work to keep it versus never get it and just hope that the work that you're putting in will eventually get you to it? I like the latter. I like the first one a whole lot better. Get me the result. Now I can go and work on that. So I'm using a squat as a test retest. I had the worst squat known to man. I had the most immobile ankles known to man. I based it on 18 years as a goalkeeper in a heel elevated, shallow squat set position. I spent hours and hours and hours in that position by the end of my career, and it was one of the most basic movement patterns that I've performed the most often. So I'm looking at it like we did everything. Like in the strength and conditioning facility with some very smart minds. Chris and Aaron are very intelligent. They look at things biomechanically in a very detailed and smart way. I was the joke of the facility when it came to my ability to squat. Like they would laugh. It was comical at the point that it was so bad that yeah, that's Joe. So we beat the heck out of my calves, out of my shins, out of my ankles, out of my feet. I went to a chiropractor to get mobilized, and he went, "Yeah, those are real tight ankles." I went, "Yeah, that's why I'm here." And he goes, "Don't know what to do for you." It's like, dude, okay, got it. So chiropractic didn't help, strength and conditioning didn't help, massage, you name it. I did it. Like I'll get some comments that are like, oh, you should have tried this. I probably tried it, and nothing really helped outside of a trip to Ridgefield, Connecticut for Titleist Performance Institute Level 2, which was junior track. So learning all about junior development. I get into this, and the guy running it is a chiropractor as well. I went, hey man, I got the tightest ankles known to man. My squat is one of the worst you'll ever see. You're a chiropractor. Another chiropractor didn't help. If you have time, I'm just curious. And end of the whole course, he goes, hey man, let's take a look at those ankles. So I'm laying on my back, and he is, no joke, just boom, pulling my foot from the rest of my leg as with like abrupt movement, and my whole body is just shifting on the floor, just down and just keep getting dragged. I'm getting a wedgie, like it's ridiculous. I get up. That was the best my squat had been ever. It wasn't great, but it was different. Now looking back, it was nothing to do with the ankle part, really. It had much more to do with my head moving in that fashion, in a downward fashion, in a less threatening place. Laying on my back is a whole lot less threatening than squatting from upright. That gave me a vestibular activation, short term, that changed my squat. You'll learn a lot about the vestibular system. It's your where are you and where you are going part of your nervous system. So in a squat, simply, my brain needs to tell my body, we're going down now. I'm not getting those signals, so my squat is not going down now. My head is staying in that position at all costs, not wanting to do that. So I got a little bit of improvement at Titleist, and that was it. So now I'm in this Z Health Essentials class, and I go, if you could change my squat at all, I'll take everything you got. And go figure, by the end of, I think that was a 3-day course, not 4. The curriculum is 4 days, 8 hours a day. I think this essential course was 3 days, 8 hours a day. By the end of those 8 hours with playing with what I thought were random head movements, different vision stuff, my squat improved by about 50-60%. Like, felt good. Like, not just all right, I can get down there. No, it felt more athletic. It felt better. And I went, all right, I'm taking everything you got. So at the end of that course, I walk up and went, how fast can I take structure? And the unique part of Z Health is it's a private education company. So it's not go to school, sign up for the term, and you're there all the time. I had to look at it and say, when are you offering your courses here in Arizona? And at the time, they were starting to build some traction. So now they're starting to end up in Europe. And they're starting to put some things in Seattle or San Diego or Atlanta or I don't remember where they were doing these in-person courses. But I had to look at it and go, how can I do this? And I went, what's the fastest way to structure? I need to know why this is working. And he goes, look, let's look at the calendar. It looks like if you did R, which is the first core curriculum, all about movement, restoration, re-education, learning complex nonlinear movement, very specific movement around joints. A lot of great stuff. So I went R, S, which is their sport version. So take athletics and reverse engineer them, which is so freaking fun. Taking, hey, how does Barry Sanders cut? Can we start training you to cut like Barry Sanders? The answer is yes. You might never get there, but I would say an improvement towards one of the best change of directioners of all time is going to help you in whatever setting that you're at, because you're not in an all-time setting, most likely. You're in high school sports, college sports, just looking to play some ultimate frisbee on the weekend warrior style, whatever it is. That's not happening. So reverse engineering. So I went RS structure. I got to it because, again, this is just how the calendar laid out, and I was blown away. absolutely blown away. 8 hours a day, 4 days of neural tracks, connections of how the brain and body talk to each other, from spinal thalamic tracts to cortical spinal tracts to, I mean, dorsal columns and spinal thalamics and you name it. Like, it's all real. It's all neuroscience. It's all neuroanatomy. Like, don't have to take their word for it. Go flip open any textbook. Go figure. Now I'm starting to re-see things that I just completely discounted in my exercise science degree. It's starting to come to life and go, oh, that stuff mattered. Wait, not only did that stuff matter, it matters arguably more than what I learned as a foundation in my entire degree. And it hit me in the face. Like, what? So it's a combo. Like, again, every course is educate and apply. So learn the neuroscience, learn the neuroanatomy, learn the pathways, then learn how to assess them. So you're learning how to assess the brainstem, you're learning how to assess the cortex, the cerebellum, the thalamus, different receptors, different peripheral nerves, your spinal cord. It all matters, and it's the 8 levels model within Z Health. That is part of the private education. Is he's building the curriculum. And it's based on research and based on experience and application, and it's impressive. So I'm learning neuroanatomy, neuroscience, theory, everything of the sort. Learn how to assess. Learn what kind of the scale of function. You see this well, you don't see that well, so on and so forth, and then you go use it on each other. I walked away from that course numb. It's the best way I can describe it. Just going, what did I just do for 32 hours? And then I went to the R, S, structure, I. I is kind of an integration between eyes, balance, inner ear, and movement. That's where you start learning how to put together athleticism and how to train athleticism more deliberately from a brain perspective. So I take that course, and then I'm into T-phase. T-phase is much more manual, so working on scars, manipulation, stuff that I don't do because it's outside of my scope as an exercise science guy, and that's much more manual therapy. I do it for myself, but I found it fascinating. I thought it does help people. I've seen major changes from playing with scars, etc. And I go, that's where I kind of draw the common sense line. It's like, oh, you're not licensed to touch that person's skin. It's like, stop. Like, what licensure is necessary to do this on a scar? Really? It's just protecting someone in their own education. It's not the reality of people. People brush along each other. I'm not suing them because they touched my arm. And just because now I'm in a position that I can help somebody, it feels even more wrong that if this can improve their movement and I am a movement coach, why would I not explore an option that might help my client? So there's a little bit on T-phase. It was awesome. Very powerful. I'll go through my experience with Z Health on a personal note at some other point. Again, today we're on education. So you know who the heck is giving you their opinions and thoughts and stuff that a lot of them look a lot different from a brain and neurologic perspective. So that's why I'm sharing this stuff. So fast forward, I took the whole curriculum twice. It took about 4 years, just based on the schedule and what I could make in Phoenix. Because I wasn't interested in traveling all over trying to follow them around. I just waited for that course to be in Phoenix at their headquarters, drove out, spent the time, got back to work, and applied everything that I learned. Looking back, if someone was overseeing young Joe and saying, we're just looking for a natural tendency for him to just kind of direct his attention towards, start filling his life gradually with, someone would have watched and went, that was uncommon, that kid that's not good at school, that barely is getting through everything, that is getting grades, but it's because he's getting a lot of help, whether he knows it or not, just aced a human skeleton test. The only one to do it. Let's see if we drop him into a human world of understanding humans, how they function, everything of the sort. This is what I'm supposed to do. Looking back at that education, I would take, it felt like a 75%, 80% retention of those 32 hours of education and just shamelessly, immediately start applying it with all of my clients. All of them. I'm seeing results that are worth it. Plain and simple. Someone that hasn't raised their arm in years, raising their arm. And again, those conversations will come. Seeing chronic pain go away. Seeing deadlifts increase, like you've never lifted that weight, and now you're lifting that weight and it looks relatively easy, and you just did a vision drill. It got weird and wild real fast. Fascinating. So that's what I was supposed to do. I had no idea. But this is what I gravitate towards. I can't balance a checkbook. I can't do accounting. Math sucks. Like, pull teeth to do normal things that most people would seem silly to do. This is what I'm good at. This is what makes sense to my mind. This is what I understand, and this is what I pursue. So I took the curriculum in 4 years. The second time I took structure, like again, first time I took structure was numbing. I was like, what is that? The second time I took structure was about a year later, and we're learning, like you go through all the areas of the brain and what they're responsible for and kind of health history questions to help you as a practitioner go, where should we work? Like, you can't look in there, so it's a black box that you have to determine based on what they've done to themselves, how they're operating now, and what they want out of themselves. So we're learning about all the different areas of the cortex, and we're on the frontal lobe. And I'm just reading along. Oh, your frontal lobe, it's partial. And again, all of this stuff is very simplified so we can actually use it. The reality is the nervous system and brain are insanely complex. We don't know even a droplet of it yet. In my opinion, we probably know at least a small bucket worth of droplets. But nonetheless, there is a way to look at all of that complexity with a little bit more simplicity so that we can actually use it. And that is so I'm learning about the frontal lobe, going, okay, frontal lobe, critical thinking, decision making, part of emotional control, impulse control, function or voluntary movement comes from there. And I'm going, I've got critical thinking problems. I don't really think that much about what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing. I definitely have impulse control problems. I'm fast to do bad things to myself without even a thought. I have had plenty of I've retired my soccer career because of a voluntary movement problem, as I thought I could no longer play with this arm. Like, I didn't feel confident extending out to make a save, chronic elbow pain, chronic shoulder pain. A surgeon said we could definitely do surgery on both of those. Not sure it will help, but we will only know one way. And that just rubbed me the wrong way. And I went, no, what's the other option? PT, I'll give it a shot. But PT just made it barely acceptable. Still affected how I slept, still affected every day of my life, still affected how I could move, how I could perform. Nothing was great when it came to that left arm. So I retired because of a voluntary movement problem. And I'm going, I have brain damage. Like, literally just like that. I'm looking at the slide on the screen going, I have brain damage. And before that, learning all this stuff was, again, for clients, and I sprinkled it in for myself around my strength and conditioning warm-up. So I had a training session for myself. I would start throwing in some complex nonlinear movement as a warm-up. But I didn't do a lot of other things with it for myself. But my clients got as much as I could throw at them, as much as they were willing to let me throw at them. And again, seeing great, really cool changes with some, and then some definite head scratchers. I'm not 100% successful and never will be, but all the failures, all the people I haven't been able to help, know that you are fuel for continuing forward to try and learn more to help more people and myself. So I'm learning that, and I go, oh my God, I got brain damage. I go up to Dr. Cobb. I go, Doc, I've got brain damage. And he goes, yeah, you said you were a goalkeeper? I go, yeah. He goes, concussion? I went, yeah, like 2 knockout concussions. I'll go into health history stuff at a later time. This is education based. I'm just telling that for myself to stay on somewhat of a track versus goodbye tangent and 5 hours later we're talking about like ice cream and popsicles. But I went, yeah, I've got a concussion history. And he goes, yeah, these are like the things that you just described, the brain damage that like it's very common after you've hit your head. And I went, okay, what do I do about it? And of course, like I've learned plenty in Z Health. The answers are there. Like Dr. Cobb is a saint in that way. The questions that he gets from people, that's like, what do I do about this? It's like, well, I don't know. You've taken you've taken over half of our curriculum, and this is the second time in structure. How about you give me a freaking idea of what you should do about this? Because that's why you're here. But he's a he's a saint, and he's better than I am. And he went, try Stroop Effect. I'm like, Stroop Effect? He goes, it's an app you can download on your phone. And this was purely an educated guess. Knowing all of the options that he had to choose for me, he's that good at working with people that he has worked with so many people, has developed this perception and this eye for people to really find like a very powerful need within that black box relatively quickly. So if I look back at it and went, why did he give me that? I was hyperactive. I talk a mile a minute, as you can tell. Like I'm full of energy and then crash. I dealt with pain. I dealt with problems. I don't know. He just kind of, it seemed like either a really easy place for him to start with me. Hey, download this app, try it out. Or this guy is showing frontal lobe stuff, so here's a frontal lobe activity. He says that to me, and one of the I would say colleague. He's a colleague that was also educated in Z Health amongst many other things. Name is Zachariah. You'll hear about him. Zachariah comes up and goes, did I just hear Doc tell you to play Stroop? I went, yes. He goes, put orange juice around it. I went, now it's getting weirder and weirder. I was like, what? Why? He goes, if you're playing it because of the concussion stuff you've had and you're focused on your frontal lobe, the change is going to need calories. You're going to play that and just tank your calories. Because if your brain needs something, again, energy system injury or concussions, if you start poking at an area that's not getting sufficient calories and it starts working, do you think it's going to need less or more calories? And I went, more. He goes, so drink a little orange juice, play Stroop, drink a little orange juice, shut it down. Okay? And this concept was the tipping point for my life. Going from a unaware, unknowing, no critical thought, no contemplation, no questioning myself, no asking myself questions of any type, just, again, riding the bike, throwing the newspaper as it comes, not thinking about what's in front of that, to a complete paradigm shift in life change. From I don't think about my brain ever and I know nothing about it, to my brain is everything and I think about it every day and it is the only filter I put anything I do through. Everything in my life now is from a brain perspective. Everything. And it is a complete paradigm shift to what I learned before Z Health, where work on the body, work on the body, work on the body. Like nothing from a behavior side of things was thought about. Nothing from a brain perspective was thought about. It was so elementary in comparison to what is possible. So the paradigm shift happened like this. I go back to San Diego, just like always, I just start working with my clients again. I forgot about Stroop. I forgot about I didn't have the ability to really to create habits. So I just start working and I went, man, I need to start doing some of this for myself. Like, it's powerful in my warm-ups, it's powerful in my cool downs, but I'm not doing it for myself. And I need to. And that's where actually you saw me stumble there, because there was a moment that, coming back from one of the early classes, I did start to realize what was possible with Z Health, or a brain focused perspective, but it didn't register to me at the time. We learned some complex motor control for the shoulders, the neck, and the thoracic spine. And the combination of that stuff brought down my shoulder pain, my chronic shoulder pain that I couldn't write, I couldn't sleep. Every press, every gym activity I did hurt at some level. I was weaker on that side, everything of the sort. Those three activities, those three motor control exercises brought down that pain probably within 15-20% of resolution. Like, and that going from it's affecting everything I do to it's barely even a whisper in a few things that I do was drastic, major change. So there was something that I got an experience, but I never really put it on myself that I've got issues like I did at Structure. It was just pop, 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 pop. Wow, that feels better. Do it again tomorrow, pop. I get 3 pops. 1 pop on this one, 1 pop on that one pop on that one, and my shoulder would feel better. And then the pop went away, but I still kept doing the movement, and that shoulder stayed at like 80% better. And it now fully functional, completely gone, but it took more time and more education and more training. But I'm back into this mode where I'm not doing a ton for myself. Yes, I did enough for myself to reduce the chronic injury, which I know seems like I'm glossing over that like it's no big deal. It's a big deal. But it wasn't in the sense of shifting my thought process, and just continued on as I went and went, oh, great. I'm glad that feels better. But never really like a, wow, I can't believe that I just took a chronic injury that a surgeon said could need surgery, there is physical damage, is now 80% better. So I learned Stroop, I'm back, I'm working with my clients, still seeing much better results than pre-Z Health with them, better movement, better increases of strength, more fat loss, whatever they wanted when it came to their performance and their strength and conditioning component. And I went, man, I learned this, like I needed to play Stroop like a couple months ago. Why am I not doing that? And I went, hey, I don't have the habit for it. My habits are terrible. I don't know how to build new ones. Replacing and quitting things is very hard for me. So I went, I'm going to start playing Stroop. And oh man, at least 6 months went by of saying that. Yeah, I'm going to play Stroop. Yep, I'm going to play Stroop. I'm going to play Stroop. I'm going to just, again, not a lot of thought, forward thinking. It's just react to things in life. So I finally went. I went to a course, one of the courses called Sustenance and Spirit. Sustenance and Spirit. Yes, on behavior change, behavior modification, the science behind it. Go figure. It's freaking amazing. Awesome science behind changing your own behavior. You just got to go learn it and now start chipping away and trying to apply it. So I went to this course, and it's about behavior change. And it was, one of the concepts was, hey, if you have a habit you want, try and stack it on a habit you already have. And I went, I make coffee every morning. How I've tried to remember to play Stroop by putting a calendar reminder on my phone. I foundationally hated it. Turned that alarm off immediately. Turned off the alert immediately. Never used the calendar reminder. Tried to just remind myself. That didn't work. And I went, how have I remembered to do things in the past? And I wrote them down. I haven't written it down. So I went, okay, I have a coffee habit in the morning. I know that if I write things down, I'm more likely to remember them. I wrote down Stroop on a sticky note. I put it on the coffee maker. The next morning, I went to play it. I went, oh, that's right. I need to drink orange juice. So I take a sip of orange juice. I open the app. I'm reading the instructions. Go, oh, that's simple enough. It's a minute-long test on your phone. You get a ding for a right answer. You get a for a wrong answer. And I'm going, get wrong after wrong after wrong after wrong after wrong. I get angry. And that was another thing that I stumbled upon. It was like anger, impulse control, stuff like that. Frontal lobe is a big player. And I went, oh, yeah, I deal with anger issues. I like blinding anger issues. Like I'm aware and have to make sure that I behave in a certain way to not elicit that anger, because I was terrified of it and I didn't understand it. But I could get so angry so fast that my vision went black and I just got this heated, tingling rage in my body. And that started end of college. And go figure, there was a real nasty concussion right before that happened that was kind of a tipping point for brain unhealth for me. Again, we'll talk about it. But education-wise and this paradigm shift in my life, we're almost to a close. Stay with me. It came from this Stroop effect. I went, oh my... I just got, like, I almost threw my phone out the window. Like, that's how angry I got from playing a freaking app game. And I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. Sip of orange juice. All right, let's do this again. Wrong, wrong, wrong. I am about to throw a 90-mile-an-hour curveball or fastball right out my window into the courtyard. And again, I caught myself and went, dude, because initially it's like I didn't know what was going to make that anger come. So to be able to go, I'm playing this and anger's coming was different. So I was able to catch it and be like, okay, you're getting pissed. Another sip of orange juice and I went, all right, take the whole minute if you have to get one ding. Just one, not just give me one ding, one positive answer. So the Stroop effect is ultimately, you've got a word, red and green, and then there's the tint. The tint doesn't have to match the word. So it could be the word red in the tint green. And your goal is to match the tint, not the word. Because we're wired to read. So this is a frontal lobe inhibition. You've got to override your natural want to describe what it says. It says red. Select red. Not, it says red, but it's in the color green. Select green. That's an override. So I'm going, okay. It says red. It is in the color green. And this is literally me in my apartment in San Diego looking at this phone going, okay. Green. Ding. Just almost lost it with joy. Like, just so happy to hear a ding and see a +1 happen on that screen. I went, yes! And I kept going. I went, okay, now it says green. And it's in the color green, or the tint green. Even though that tint is red, it does say green at the bottom. So, okay, that's the answer. Ding! Yes! I got 3. 3 right. So you get a +1 for a right answer, a -1 for a wrong answer. After that minute, playing it the 3rd time, I got 3. Yes! went on with my day, went on with life, like played once every day. Sip of orange juice, play for a minute, sip of orange juice. There was a moment, and this is where I went, oh, this isn't just this is a lifestyle. Like Z Health is, yes, they're broken into a curriculum. You have to. You can't learn this stuff in a day, or you'd have to go to school for it. But schools aren't teaching it. That's why he's in a different world to be able to provide more up-to-date information. If you didn't know, the average university is about 15 years behind current research and application. Stanford is one of the best at being most up-to-date. Last time I checked or heard, they're 7 years behind. So fantastic. You're learning outdated information in a college setting, and then you're entering the real world. And if you're working with people, now you're working with things that can absolutely still work, but there might be better options out there. So I'm getting tired. You can start to see the thought process slide. I'm very proud of myself. I've been going for an hour and a half almost, but we're almost to the finish. I will regather my thoughts here. So there is a moment where I bought a whole set of kettlebells. I got out of the gym setting. I worked for myself. I brought private clients out, started meeting them in their garages, meeting them in their parks, having a blast, but I needed equipment. So I'm looking online, finding a set of kettlebells. Found a set that I liked. I loved them. They were fantastic. They had that little flat spot on the bell that would sit against your forearm, nicer than the curved part. It was a phenomenal kettlebell in my opinion. I ordered one from 6 to 48 in 4 kilo increments. So that I live in a third, fourth story, 400 square foot apartment in downtown San Diego. I can't get a pallet of kettlebells delivered to my apartment. And so I go to one of my clients. It's like, hey, can I get them delivered to your house? He goes, no problem. Just give me or put the address, blah, blah, blah. So he gets them. I'm not there when they arrive. I get there for our next session with him. The pallet is there. There's a kettlebell missing. Like we looked at them all and went, there's no 6 kilo. So I went, all right, well, let me go to customer service. Hey, I didn't get the 6 kilo kettlebell. Let me know how we should proceed. The response was, that's your fault. And I could feel that anger start to tip a little bit. I went, my fault? I went, the kettlebell didn't arrive. How is that my fault? She said, you needed to check to make sure everything was there from the packing slip. I went, it got delivered to my client's house. I didn't know about that component of it. And it's wrapped in saran wrap or package wrap. How am I supposed to know? And she goes, well, did it look like this picture? And when you didn't send me that picture. If I had that picture, I would have sent it to my client and said, if it doesn't look like this, don't accept it. But you didn't send that picture with any of the invoice. I do not have that photo of this is what the shipment should look like. And she didn't budge. The customer service at this kettlebell company said, sorry, that's on you. And man, that's where a moment of blinding anger in my history would have shown up. I would have gotten livid. So livid, I would have ripped her a new one. I would have gone on everything that I could have with that kettlebell company and just blasted them a new one. Just everything hateful, everything just angry I could think of, they would have gotten it. And literally, I look at it and go, man, well, that sucks. This isn't worth it. I'll write a review. I'll call my bank and we'll be done with it. And I went, what just happened? Like, I'm not blinded with anger from something that should have blinded me with anger to the extreme. Like, I would get pissed off if a client said they ate something that wasn't on the diet like 5 years ago, like oh, you ate oatmeal or whatever it was. The oatmeal is probably on the diet at that point. but like lose it over minuscule things. And here I am, like spending thousands of dollars on kettlebells, having that as the response and going, I can't do anything about it now. And that was a revelation. That was the paradigm shift in my life. And it was because of the education that I got and the application that came from it. So there is a little bit about me and my educational journey to get to this point where I am a neuroathletic performance coach. I work with people and their nervous systems for a living on a daily basis. I'm working with brains, I'm working with nervous systems, I'm working with bodies, and our whole goal is to improve your performance. So if you're hurt, make you not hurt. If you're not hurt, make you a better player. If you're a weekend warrior or just someone that wants to sit down and stand up better, it's all brain derived. So that was my experience of, whoa, I need to start, my life needs to be around this, simply. Like I need to think from a brain perspective. I need to apply this stuff to myself first. I had no idea that my concussion history had a long-term negative impact. I ultimately lived with post-concussion syndrome for most of my life from middle school on. And it got a little hairy even elementary school with a early concussion at 9 years old. Again, health history day will be another day, education day today. But that moment was, wow. I wrote my review. Hey, I love these kettlebells. They are phenomenal. Unfortunately, I can't do business with them again. I didn't receive one of them and had no idea. Like they didn't send me a picture. I had no idea what to expect. And they said that was my fault. So unfortunately, I can't support a business like this, even though I love their kettlebells. Go to my bank. Hey, I did not get this purchase. It is this much money, and it got taken off of my card. And then the owner of that kettlebell company came back at me. Ripped me all over his social media. Can you believe this guy? And blah, and blah, 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 all this stuff. The pre-Stroop me. Let me get warmed up for you here, and we'll make you feel like an absolute idiot. Post-Stroop me, I went, that sucks. And I left it. And again, that was such a big moment in my life from I am very concerned with how angry I get to something should have triggered that anger, but I did a cell phone app focused on frontal lobe activation, and I didn't get angry. That was enough. And now that's a big part of why I'm here talking at my computer, is to share the evolution of what's possible for people. And it's not common knowledge. It's not normal at this point. It's not being taught in university settings. But your brain is everything. Everything. And it is understandable and it's trainable specifically. But we don't live in that world yet. So the conversations that I have is, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm a neuroathletic performance coach. And they go, oh, like psychology? Psychology is a part of brains. We could talk about stuff for sure. Psychology helps people, but no. So is it like visualization? Yep, visualization, cerebellar activity, massively important, shares the exact same pathways as physically doing things. Helping someone learn how to visualize could absolutely be helpful to them. They go, well, what is it? It's like, well, simply put, my education puts you in the center of all of the options. All of them. Anything that's out there has worked for someone's brain. That's why they're there. Anything not out there didn't help someone's brain, so we don't use them. But foundationally, anything from chiropractic to acupuncture to massage to transcranial whatever to red light therapy to eating a certain way to sleeping like this, it changes brain function. And your brain is the foundation of that function. So if you look at that you get the global changes. You could look at an elbow and not get a change because it's up to the brain to determine how you feel that elbow. And I know this is now starting to get out there, but the foundation of this concept, or of my message here, is there's a paradigm shift. There's a paradigm shift of how we think about a person. And that one person could need all sorts of different things. How do you know? Get to know them. Get to know their health history. Get to know and understand how that health history might have impacted their brain. Oh, you got a ton of dental surgeries? Maybe we look at the PONS, cranial nerve 5, which innervates all of your teeth. Maybe there's some untapped rehab there that once rehabbed, the overall system is now working better and you are performing better. It's a paradigm shift. It is a big one, but that's what I'm here to talk about largely, and I can't wait for the next time I talk at you, and hopefully you're enjoying it. So I'm a bit tired now. I'm going to do some breathing stuff, have some fruit to refuel my brain, and probably get on with some reading. Hopefully you have a good day.